Hey, Carm3D on the tube. This is a video for my rigging students. So, rigging basics, part 2. This is where we left off. I had made this rig. This is basically the simplest possible rig you can do. It works, but just barely. As you can see, as I move this controller around, I have no way of telling the elbow where to point. It just kind of does what it does, and there's really no way I can direct the elbow with the way it's set up right now. So let's bring this up one notch in complexity, and this is really not a standard thing. This is just kind of a trick that I was told many years ago. Oh, I have my auto key on again, darn it. And hang on, I'm gonna load my scene again. Okay. So I'm going to pick this bone here, and I will use split bone is a tool to let you split bones. I'm going to move it about here, and I think I hit the wrong button to do the operation. Let me try that again. Is it enter? No, not you. Oh, okay, it's double click. Alright, let's get out of that mode. Okay. So these are a little hard to see. I'm going to make this light green. Actually, the reason why I made these dark green is because I wasn't controlling them directly. I'm using the controllers or the clavicle to animate, but the dark green ones are just dark because I'm not animating them directly. I'm animating via other things. So, but this one I will be animating directly now. This one is using IK. I'm going to go into my motion options, and you can see I got heading controllers is set to use inverse kinematics. Pitch is set to use inverse kinematics. Same thing here. The pitch has inverse kinematics on it. But this guy, I'm going to set this to keyframe, in other words, manual control. And then down here, I'm going to turn off heading and pitch. So just the bank is editable. So now when I'm going to back out here so you can see. If I move this guy, let me just change my... Oh, I'm rotating the bone. That's wrong. I want the controller. Okay, so I move him around. Now I can pick this bone here, and I rotate it on its bank, and what that does is what you see before you. I'm able to control where the elbow points. Now, in case you know what pole vectors are, this is not as absolute as pole vectors. It's kind of a trick, but it's a handy trick because it's just so simple to set up. Split one bone and you get the control of the elbow. So it's good to know. You can choose to employ it or not if you like. So I'm going to move over here. Whoops. Let's put this bone over here. You can see the elbow is going all funky. Okay. Now, first problem is, of course, this is an impossible bend. The arm cannot go higher than the clavicle. But if I rotate this around, there we go. And really I only need to put keyframes on bank. Oh, hang on a second. I put that on the wrong keyframe. There. So that kept things in sync. Another thing I'll mention is, you don't have to use inverse kinematics on the arms. I prefer not to use inverse kinematics on the arms sometimes. It depends what your character's going to do. Obviously, if you're going to have your character put his hands on a table, then you kind of need inverse kinematics. But if it's just going to be swinging around, not going to be touching anything that's static, you don't really need the inverse kinematics. Of course, there are ways to switch between the two as well, which we'll touch on later. But I wanted to mention that you can see the motion path that this moves in. This is just basic interpolation from A to B to C, but it's not very natural. People don't pull their arms in and then stretch them out. No, if they were going to go from here to here, they're going to do like a swinging motion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going between these two keys here, and I'm going to pull this out so he gets more of an arc motion. And let's just put keyframes on the position only. There, so. Okay, I went out a little too far, but you get the idea. But the truth is, it's really difficult to get these kinds of arcs looking supernatural. I don't mean supernatural is one word, I mean super space natural. When you're using inverse kinematics, the only way to really get good arcs is by forward kinematics, picking this bone and rotating it. That's the best way easiest way to do it. So I guess that's about it for this video. I will be adding more as time progresses, showing you other methods of controlling limbs. This works on the legs too, by the way. This whole trick with this bone here. Stick another bone right there, and I have control over the knees, which way the knees point. Alrighty. See you next time.